You're listening to the Appleton REIA podcast, a podcast dedicated to understanding the latest tips, tricks, and techniques to be successful in today's market of real estate investing. Appleton REIA podcast. Get ready. Here's the next episode.
Well, hello, everybody. It is Dan and Jacci once again for the Appleton REIA podcast, and we got a little special bonus for you this month, don't we, Jacci?
We sure do. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
Absolutely. Of course, the Appleton REIA podcast is dedicated for you, the real estate investor, to learn tips, techniques, just overall to be a more successful real estate investor. And we never have fun. That's the problem with this podcast, right? We never. It's always so professional.
Can never come up with our words.
This, right? You see us in all our entirety. Very little editing goes into this podcast if you haven't already listened already. Nonetheless, today we're actually pretty blessed to have someone with us today that actually has really transformed his life and doing it in a vehicle of real estate that many people almost kind of look negatively upon, right, Jacci?
I would agree. You know, if you mention, mobile homes or whatever, people are like, oh, instantly, like trailer trash. I don't want to deal with that. I don't even like the tenants I have, and they pay a lot more than that. And that's generally the flag that goes up. And I bet you Adrian deals with that all the time. But today we have Adrian Smude, who is going to share with us kind of the way that he's attacked this whole industry and made quite a living for himself. I mean, if you follow the guy, he's traveling everywhere. Yeah. He's not always fully clothed, but he can tell you, well, this guy has more fun than anyone else you could possibly meet. He's a hoot to hang around with afterwards, and we're going to have him in our area live. So we wanted to give you a little taste of Adrian. I met Adrian through Life and Air, and everywhere I go, everybody knows him, and they're always talking about him and like some crazy experience they had with the guys. So yeah, I'm excited to introduce you guys to Adrian, and you'll get to meet him live soon. So hi, Adrian. Welcome.
What up, Adrian?
Thank you, Jacci and Dan. I appreciate the awesome, fun energy intro.
We try to, man. We try to have fun. So just talk a little bit, man. I mean, just talk a little bit about your journey, right? Jacci has shared just a tease of that. It's pretty amazing from where you've come to where you are today. And why do you think that is?
Yeah, I'll give a shortened version of my journey, maybe a little bit that I'm not going to talk about in May, but I started 20 years ago as a terrible, terrible tenant. And then I'll get into some of those fun stories of like the mud wrestling parties and putty wrestling parties. We'll talk about that later.
That alone you got to come for mud wrestling parties, bro?
He doesn't have any fun.
So I ended up buying a house hacking. I didn't know that's what it was. I just moved friends in, lived there. I had some short sale on my record, didn't do well, got beat up emotionally from it. Then got to a REIA, which then I fell in love with REIAs because of the education and networking and everything that goes with a REIA, the high energy. And then through a REIA, I met Life and Air. And at that time, I had a few homes. I was doing all right. I mean, I thought I knew what I was doing, but really I was a hobby landlord. And I got some clarity through my group that I actually thought they were wrong. And my plan was to prove my group and Life and Air wrong. And then they ended up being right. And I'm really abbreviating the story. That's one of the ways I found mobile homes. I really found them from the seasoned investor that sits in the back of the REIA, the one that doesn't need to come, but if they have hair, it's usually a little like silver colored. And they had all been in the business longer than I'd been alive. And I was like, well, they probably know more than me. And in my area, they all talked about mobile homes. I bought my first one, and then my coach, Ken Holmes, he saw the numbers and stuff. He's like, you got something here. This is a good widget. If you like it, he calls it a widget because whatever we're invested in, it's all the same thing, really. We're just using a different tool.
Yep.
And the cash flow, what I'm going to focus on, besides talking about how to get started, what you need to look for, but it's the cash flow. That is why mobile homes are so awesome. And the cash flow, Jacci, is how I go and have fun, travel around. I don't do that off of equity.
Jacci's dancing. You can't see
right?
the podcast, but Jacci's dancing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's how you live life is cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I keep saying it over and over to people, and takes them maybe 15 or 20 times to finally grasp it, because everyone wants the refinance and burr method. Yeah. And it can work while you're growing, but eventually you can't refinance anymore. And eventually the music stops. That's how I lost my second property and a short sale. And you can only live on that equity for so long. Cash flow, as long as you do the numbers right, you can live on it forever.
So is that your aha moment, Adrian, when you kind of had that, when you said you lost your second short sale? Was that kind of the aha moment that the light bulb went on for you for this? Or was there another point in time?
I wish I was that quick of a learner. Not at all. My coach had to get it through my head over and over. If I remember right, Ken's quote is, "What can you do with $1.67
and your equity?
$100,000 of equity?
Yeah,
you can go to the store and buy a Coca-Cola." I mean, we can't go and spend equity at places.
No.
And we can spend the cash flow. And I was trying to do everything. I wanted equity, depreciation, growth, cash flow, good profit. I wanted every piece of the pie. When my group helped me realize, really, I wanted at this point in my life cash flow, because that was going to what set me free the quickest. And, you know, again, I'm not the fastest learner, so it took a few retreats for them to really get it through my head that I really want cash flow. Now, did I get some equity? Yeah, in the last few years, our mobile homes have gone up in value a lot. You know, people always say they depreciate to zero, but that's not true, because people buy cash flow. Right? That's really true. What they're doing when they, you know, we're on video here on Zoom. Everyone's going to get to only hear us, but when they come in May, they're going to get to see this trailer that's behind me that has most of its siding. This thing produces a lot of cash flow. It's gone up a little bit in value because people are buying cash flow now. So they're paying more for a monthly income, just like a dividend stock. That's the way I look at them.
Yep. That's how you have to look at them, because that's exactly how it works. You know, it's funny. People will always ask me, you know, well, what is my property worth? And it's a rental property, you know, whether it's a duplex, triplex, you know, fourplex or bigger. And I'm like, you know, they're like, can you pull comps? And it's like, well, you can, but really it's what it's worth is what someone's willing to pay for that cash flow. So tell me your rents and I'll tell you what it's worth. I don't need to see the building. You know, other than knowing if it's got deferred maintenance, et cetera, you know, if there's a bunch of CapEx, but at the end of it all, it's based on a formula from that cash flow. That's what it's worth.
And Jackie, that's exactly how I evaluate my properties. People are always asking the same thing, but so few people outside of, I'll say, the mobile home space will actually value it that way. They value with comps like you talked about. I do add another way I value the properties. I call it my headache value.
Yeah.
How much headache is this property going to cause me? Now, when I was in massive growth, I bought anything because that's what I could afford and I had to buy it to grow. Now I want less headaches. I want my time back a little bit more. So now I look at, is this property going to cost me a lot of time? Is it going to attract a really high quality resident to live there? Or is it going to attract someone that's going to be moving out in 3 months? And now I value that. I might deal with the one I don't like so much. I just want to get paid a lot more if I deal with it.
What would you say, and I don't want to, if this is in your presentation when people come in May 17th, the Appleton REIA, what do you say are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about real estate investing in mobile homes?
Well, biggest first hurdle is that there's really 3 different ways to invest in mobile homes. A lot of people think about parks. It's this big numbers, lots of zeros, lots of money coming in. That's one way. I don't do parks. Then the other way that people usually hear about is just the home where you rent the land. So you have the home within the park. I've done some of those. Those are the cheapest way to get in. They're good, really, really good ROI. But you lose some control there.
Yeah.
I mainly focus on the single unit with the dirt. So the home and land, it's this middle forgotten part of the mobile home niche that people just don't seem to know about. And people will then say, well, we don't have any of those around me. I bet you do. You go a little bit further out, the more rural areas.
Absolutely.
They've had them in Alaska since the 50s. So if they have them in Alaska, they have them pretty much everywhere.
When I was a kid, man, we lived in a single wide mobile home in someone's land, just in the country. So they absolutely exist. And that was here in Wisconsin. So I'm proof positive it's around the area.
Exactly right.
The 3 different types, that's the bigger hurdle people have to get through, that it's not just the one that they've already been exposed to, and you can pick which of the niches, or you can do them all.
Sure.
I'm very good at getting into a real tight niche because I'm not great at doing tons of things. So I found my one really, really tight niche. And my T4 Life and Air group has helped me get into a really tight niche.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Talk about Life and Air a little bit. Obviously, I mean, that's impacted not only Jackie and myself, but has a huge impact on your life. And that could be a whole nother podcast in its own right. We were joking about that earlier, but how has that impacted you, Adrian?
I joined Life and Air, I believe May will be going into my 6th year. And so T4, I'm in the Titanium 4 group, and that's my family. I mean, we call it T4 family. I mean, those people, I sleep at their house. We share rooms, even at the retreats. We have become very, very close. And at some point within, that many people in a group, someone's having a hard time and everyone's there for them. If it's 1 a.m., it doesn't matter what time. And it's just a different feeling, I'll say, than your family. Nothing wrong with my family, but there's still just a different feel to them. I mean, through relationship things that have come up, they've been there for me. As I already mentioned, kind of crafting the business. And then the biggest thing, I'm sure you guys say it, you borrow the faith of the room.
Yeah,
exactly.
That has been massive for me, just borrowing the confidence and the faith of the room. Like, if they all think I can do it, well, then I'm probably wrong if I think I can't. And then whenever I come with a crazy idea and they're all like, well, is this part of your vision? And then I'm like, well, and I start trying to like negotiate with them. And then they look at me and I'm like, okay, I already know. Because that vision, I mean, it's so important. I've been to 5 3-days now, and I have not been this year, and I need to figure out which of the 2 I'm going to go to, because I go every year and I'm on my 4th vision. And every time I rewrite my vision and I actually read it in between those times, it comes true. It's that crazy thing. I actually nerd out on it, so I know some of the science, what's happening in the brain.
Right.
And it's still crazy to me how fast my goals are accomplished, or the perfect life, the next perfect life, because there's never a perfect. It's just been amazing.
Sure.
And so when you say a 3-day, that's the 3-day Get a Life getaway that we've been offering to the different people in our area and really across the country. And there are 2 more yet this year, one in Nashville and one in Dallas in the 3rd and 4th quarter of the year. So that's exciting that you'll be at one of them. And the vision is the vision you create for your life, right? That ideal vision that you say, this is what I want to achieve. And to know that you've achieved so many and you're on your next one, that's pretty cool. I guess for me, I'd love for you to share a little bit with anybody who's maybe seen you before, whether it's live or on a Zoom or a recording, and they've kind of seen your example and ideas of what you do with this type of investing. What would you say to those people? Like, maybe they saw you a year ago, maybe they just saw you on a Zoom broadcast or something like that. Why would they want to come see you live in May in Appleton?
Because I've gotten better every single time. I mean, really, one of my mentors, some of the better advice he gave me, Bill Cook, and I'm good friends with Bill Cook. I like to joke around, but don't tell him I said he gave me good advice. But for real, he told me, every time you speak somewhere, and I'm going to be asking you two for this, ask someone in the crowd to give critical feedback that you can actually go and improve on. And I've done that, I would say 90%, and I take that little piece and I go and implement it into my next time.
Yeah.
And I have gotten so much better. I have a video on my website, probably about a year old, and I'm kind of embarrassed that it's on there, because it's the same information, but there's a lot of uhs, and I'm stumbling some, and at time it was great, but I've improved so much, and I'm more fun, I'm more relaxed.
Right.
It's, part of that's the confidence I've gotten from my group, from just doing it over and over, just like in real estate.
Sure.
We're more confident going and talking to a seller the 50th time we did it versus the second time. And it just becomes more fun and natural.
Well, you're honing your
That's
craft,
a lot
right?
of it.
you take the time to kind of invest in yourself to get better at what you do, and being open to criticism. I think sometimes people are afraid to hear that, but if you're people that you trust, that you go to that for that critique to, they're doing it out of love versus to break you down, right? They're trying to make you better. It's not out of like pointing the finger like you're horrible. They see
That's a really good point that I should add back into the Life and Air group. It's the same thing that
tough love.
I always joke around like, don't give me the feedback my mom's going to give me, because my mom loves me and she's going to tell me I did great. Yeah, she doesn't have to hear me, and she's still going to say you did fantastic. It's the best time you've ever done, because that's what moms do. But getting that I love you, here's what you can improve on feedback has been phenomenal. And I've also changed my style. I've realized I love a conversational style like we're having here.
Right.
So I've moved my presentation from a presentation to let's just have a conversation. Yeah. And I have some slides and I have some points I want to make, but let's just talk through this whole thing. Sure. And I get to learn what people actually want to know versus what I think they want to know.
Right. You get that live Q&A of the room. And not to mention, like, you've got a whole nother year of experience in running your business, and you've run across more challenges, and you've, and now, like you said, you're upping your game, right? You get kind of rid of some of the headache factor, and you're learning, and we want to learn from your mistakes. So you have more mistakes to share with us the longer you grow in your business and go out and share with the world what you're doing. So it's pretty cool.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Adrian. I'm sorry.
No, I was totally agreeing. Exactly.
I was just going to add on. I think you have an awesome niche that you're in.
For sure.
Not many people are in this space, and I think the cost with people always go to wholesaling because it's somewhat cheaper and expensive. But really, to get into mobile home investing, you don't need as much cash, right? To do what you do. And I'm sure you'll talk about all that during the presentation. So again, I'm not going to steal your thunder here, and we only have so much time, but. You mentioned earlier you have a website. What's your website? If people want to obviously check you out, and then we'll obviously let people know about the specifics of when you're going to be in town here.
It's lifestyle-rei.com. Cool. And the concept of lifestyle, it's similar to like kind of a play on words with Life and Air, that it's not the lifestyle unless you really want it with the Lambos and the infomercial stuff. It's I don't need a ton of money to actually enjoy my life, to go and travel and to camp, on my drive up there. I'm going to be driving up there. I'm probably going to camp once or twice because I enjoy camping and being in nature. Yeah. That doesn't cost much money. So it's finding the lifestyle you really want and building the business around it. So it's, I'm heavily influenced by life.
Right? I mean, to me, time is more valuable than money. I would take more time of just having me control over it than someone else controlling me, or something or some entity controlling my time. And I firmly believe that. And once you have control over your time, the quality of life that you have is so much greater. And the dollars, really, the bank account don't matter as much. I always have enough to provide for me and do the things I need to do as well. But it's not so much about making more money than Jim Smith over there. I control my life, right? So that's what's important to me. I call it.
And when I hear like some of these big businesses, real estate business, or speakers and stuff, I get caught up in like, well, I want to be doing what they're doing. Yes. And then I hear their actual monthly, what they have to make. Yeah. They're like, not. I don't even want to make that a year. That's not even my year goal. And you have to make that to break even in a month. I've heard some numbers that are just crazy. I'm like, it's not even worth the work or the travel and the wait from, You're right.
And you can't stop.
Yes. Yeah. I was gonna say you get in that hamster wheel.
Yeah, that's the dirty secret that no one talks about when they promote like, oh, I do 100 deals a month or whatever. There's overhead costs of doing that. There's employees. There's probably a brick and mortar, a business
building
that they have, and then all the costs that go with that. The marketing, holy crap! People don't think about that, but there's companies spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in marketing just to get those deals. So you get
it's a machine.
It's a machine, right? You have a slow month. It can be just as equitably stressful, even though you're in real estate, making all these monies and promoting yourself as a successful person. Do you want that? Some people, they strive off it. That's not necessarily my cup of tea.
Nor mine.
Whatever. To each their own. There's whatever serves you, right? And that's that's the beauty of Life and Air.
Your vision.
Your vision.
It's funny because that's what
go ahead, Adrian. Go ahead.
I was going to say that. That's
I was just going to close up shop a little bit here. Go ahead.
Real quick. One of my questions I get asked a lot, and I always laugh when I get asked, well, how many deals do you do a month?
Right.
And I'm like, a month? I tracked a year. My goal is for a year, 4 really good deals a year to keep.
Yeah.
I've met people that do that a week for decades.
Yeah.
And I'm tired physically listening to them. Like, I couldn't keep up with that. Like,
right.
When do you go spend time with your friends and family and travel? And they're like, well, I'm here now. And I'll see my son next month. I'm like, it's your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's the key to setting up the vision for your life that you want so that you can go and attack that. I don't know that anybody purposely sets up a vision that says, I'm going to work incessantly and barely see my kids. And one day they'll be 20 and they won't know who I am. I don't know that anybody, I mean, there might be someone out there, but I would doubt that somebody would have laid that out as their vision. I have millions of dollars. I drive the best cars. I live in the best neighborhoods, but my life is nothing but work. I don't know that anybody would set that up as a vision or feel that they were successful in life, maybe business.
They just don't realize, we all don't realize the consequences of some things. And it's so obvious once we see it and we're around it.
And you have all the cash flow you need from what you do, and you're living the life and you're getting the life experiences. You're hanging out with the people that you want to hang out with. And dude, I never see you without a smile on your face. And everyone around you is always wearing a smile when you're there. So, so Dan, I know you're going to talk about the REIA meeting. I just want to say that being able to see Adrian live, not only is he bringing more experience and some energy to the room versus like a recording or whatever, but you're also going to get some Q&A, some networking. We'll have the meeting after the meeting where we're hanging out. But I also know that because we're a Life and Air REIA and because Life and Air is in town at the same time, we're bringing an entourage, guys. Like, I have a bar in our meeting room that night. We're having a server in our room just because we know nobody's going to want to leave the room and run to get a refreshment. So the refreshments will be there on site. And we're bringing an entourage because all of Adrian's family, the quote unquote, the family that you choose, right? His Life and Air family is all, I already heard, bombarding our meeting to come and see him live because they haven't had that opportunity either. So it's going to be awesome.
I think this is going to be one of the biggest meetings we've had just because of you and the topic, Adrian. And to Jackie's point, I mean, obviously we're Zooming this right now if you haven't told already, but just Adrian's infectious, like just his energy that he brings, his smile. I mean, just to get to know this man and talk with him. I mean, he's like a guy you could just meet up and just have like hours of conversation with without even knowing nothing about him. So that plus the knowledge and the experience and investing in a very cool niche in real estate. You're not going to want to miss this May 17th. Mark your calendars. If you have nothing going on, if you have something going on, I would try to be here, right? We're going to be at the DoubleTree in Appleton, phenomenal hotel. They always take care of us. 6:30 is when things get started, but I would recommend coming a little bit early, get some early networking, right? And then, of course, plan to stay later because we know that's where all the magic happens.
Absolutely.
Hang out, get to meet some new people, but really get to find out what Adrian's all about and how you could learn how you can use mobile home investing either as a tool in your portfolio or maybe that's your strat, right? You use that as your one thing. But it's going to be a good time. AppletonREIA.com. You can get tickets. If you've never been there before, guess what? First time is free, right? Otherwise, you can sign up at the door. Pre-registration's always encouraged because it allows things to move quicker, get people in the room. And then if you so choose, there's so many vendor sponsors. I don't want to get into that now because this topic alone is cool. Go to the website. It's all there. All the other good stuff. Otherwise, AppletonREIA.com is where it's at. And Adrian, we are looking forward to hang with you here, man, in a matter of just a short period of time. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. I can't wait to be there. I want to throw one little piece in there.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I believe no matter what the speaker is speaking about, you should still be at the REIA because you can learn something. I'm going to be talking about marketing at some point, and you can just bring that over even if you don't want to do mobile homes. And still, if you don't want to do mobile homes, you need to pay attention to who is focused and pay attention because those are your buyers when you get that lead.
Yeah.
You're right.
There's a reason to be at every meeting. I'm addicted to REIAs, so
I've never
I can talk
not
forever
been
why you should be there.
Yeah, I've never not been to a meeting of any REIA and never walked away with something that I could actually apply or grow in my business or make me a better person. So you're 100%. 100%.
Right on. Can't wait. It's going to be great.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Adrian, we'll talk to you soon. I appreciate your time, man. We'll see you in a short period of time. Otherwise, we'll see you at the Appleton REIA here, May 17th, DoubleTree in Appleton. All right? So until we talk next time, thank you guys for listening. I'm Dan. She's Jackie. See ya!
See ya!
You've been listening to the Appleton REIA podcast. For more information and other episodes, visit us at appletonrea.com.